shyness. Okay, you want the introduction? You say, but
You start.
okay. Okay. Welcome to the first Stolentruth Podcast. It's exciting. It's exciting. Of course, in this podcast, we talk about the voices of the victims. So it's not just talk about like, oh, we're talking about the story and like about true crime. Like, no, we're talking about the voices of the victims. Talk about like what they went through, and also educate ourselves, because we can also learn something from like true crime. Oh, yes. Anyways, we're talking about like the voice of the victims, and really just like we also learn something from this true crime, and there's a lot of things we can learn, educate ourselves, a lot of the stereotypes that we can learn from, in this case, from the victims' lives. And that's what it's really about for this Stolentruth Podcast. And yeah, I hope you like it. Obviously it'll be interesting, it'll be fun, it'll be entertaining. There will be some, it will be, because it's a true crime podcast, it will be some hard discussions we'll talk about. So
But then there's also going to be some nice moments, so let's stay tuned for that.
Yes. I am here with my boyfriend, Mr. Handsome.
Hello everyone.
Yes, and let's get into it. A quick disclaimer. In this case, we'll be talking about murder. We'll be talking about femicide, which is a crime committed against a woman or a girl. Particularly, it's the person committed is a man. We're talking about a lot of heavy subjects. So if this wears you out, stress you out, or makes you feel uncomfortable, take a snack, take a break, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay. Do you think it's possible for someone to just vanish? Vanish. Like
just go poof.
Out of thin air. One moment you're watching like TV, like Martin Stewart, whatever, and next moment it's just gone.
Like right in front of you.
In a couple of hours, so like that. Or
it's possible.
It's possible?
A couple of 10 minutes.
Yeah? 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. If you ask Scott Peterson, he would agree. There's a huge canine visual help with just one person, Lacey, a soon-to-be mother who was murdered and killed as she was walking her dog.
Damn!
Virtually murdered. The visual was very peaceful, very calming. I mean, given the fact that it was heavy and talking about murder, it was still very peaceful. It was peaceful in a sense where it was united, where like you see all these people gathering. There was probably hundreds of them gathering, all for just one person, and it was very illuminating. Like it was lights, and I'll show you a picture, but it was like lights. I'll show you a picture later, but it was like lights, and it all was peaceful and illuminating. All these candles being lights to show the solidarity of this heinous violence against a mother, which is truly powerful. There was many faces in the crowd, many of which was mourning the loss of this woman, whether they know them, whether they don't knowing them, just mourning the loss of Lacey. One particular face stood out, and it's this one. Don't worry about it. It's Scott Peterson. Now, Scott was a pretty smart guy. Okay, he graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in agriculture business and was considered a model student. Even one of his professors later on went on to say, and I quote, he would love to have a classroom filled with Scots. That's how much of a model student he was. Later, he opened up a sports bar at St. Louis. He called it the Shack before eventually put up for sale. So he was a smart guy. He was that guy that like he has it all together. You know what I mean? Like he's been through a lot, but he has it together. He got the finances together. He's a model student. Like, he seems to be that guy.
Yeah.
You know?
His life is laid out in front of him.
Laid out in front of him. Also, he just seems to be like, if you believe like, oh, that belief of that going on, like, oh, there's no good men out there. You think, Scott is one of them. Yeah, they're one of the good guys out there.
Yeah.
But now here it is. standing at the candlelight vigil, laughing. Now, there's even photos of him smiling, jesting at a vigil where a woman was murdered. And sometimes, taking calls and having full-blown conversations during the vigil.
You're actually making noise?
Yes. He was having full-blown conversations with someone named Amber.
That's so insensitive.
Yes. And you won't be wrong for getting angry or feeling disgusted and laughing or constantly going on his phone at this what's supposed to be
solidarity event.
Yes, you won't be wrong for feeling angry at him.
Yeah.
Especially when you find out that the vigil was held for his now dead wife.
Oh shit.
Who was murdered, disassembled, decapitated, with her limbs and body missing, and while being about 8 months pregnant with an unborn child.
With your unborn child?
Scott's unborn child.
So they removed the child and they...
Oh sure, that's where her body was found.
Without the child?
Yes, I'll explain that later.
Jesus.
Yes. With her unborn child removed from her uterus, a nylon cord wrapped around him. And here he is, laughing at his dead wife's vigil. Like, can you imagine that? Like, you would run for feeling disgusted or angry. I would too. So it was a big deal when Lizzie got pregnant, okay? There wasn't much information talking about the pregnancy, and there wasn't much information talking about like the pregnancy and what was said and all, but from what I could gather from my research, it seemed like it was a big deal they got pregnant. The pregnancy seemed like came off like a surprise for her, not necessarily a bad surprise, but like a kind of a good welcoming surprise for her.
They didn't plan to get pregnant?
It seemed like it was a surprise. It seems like, but it wasn't necessarily a bad surprise. It's like they wanted it, but it's like, oh, okay.
They expected.
Yes, at that time. Now that people planned their pregnancy, it didn't seem like it was planned.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a bad surprise regardless. Like they seemed genuinely both happy about this news. They both seemed ready to actually like step it up to get ready for this child. Everyone who knew Lacey was excited about the pregnancy. I can imagine her being like a first-time mom, buying all like the baby supplies, the baby hormones. Like she had a plan for her future with her husband. She had all these plans for her future with her husband, and having a grandchild and a grandchild. I'm sure Lisa's parents were probably pretty excited too, having a grandchild. I'm not sure if it's the first grandchild, but just having like a grandchild, you know what I mean? Like, it's exciting and maybe a little nervous too. At this point in her life, she was working as a substitute teacher and devoted a lot of her energy towards being like this perfect housewife. People who knew her described her as what I feel has described her as this bubbly, energetic, just more than life type of person. Like that's how I thought I described her, and that's how in Sona people described her. This like, more than life person. Her students loved her. Like she was just an amazing teacher, an amazing housewife, and just overall amazing. She married a wonderful husband who was financially secure, and now will become a mom. And so Lacey was emotionally, physically, and financially ready to have a kid. And as for Scott's life, I can imagine a lot of people in Scott's life being, there's even much less information about Scott's life and how excited, not Scott, there's even much less information about Scott's life and the whole news of the pregnancy, but I can imagine a lot of people in Scott's life also being pretty happy to see him start a family. For my research, like I said, it didn't seem like they were nervous or stressed out about the pregnancy. So, have you heard the saying, history repeats itself?
Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of times.
Yeah.
Imagine somebody's dad did something and then the guy himself did the same thing.
Yeah.
Bummer, right?
Yeah.
Especially if it's something bad.
Yes.
So yeah, how did that happen in this situation?
Yeah.
That's my job, right? To ask questions. Why are you laughing at me? Don't put it. Don't put this one.
Yeah, I'm going to find out.
Okay, good.
Yes. For those who don't know, the same history repeats itself. The same that can be applied not only to a whole human history, but also our own individual lives. We all have our own personal history which can contain patterns of repetition. History repeats itself means that there's a pattern that can be observed across history. Similar events keep occurring and occurring again. So basically what it said, well, it seems like history repeating itself one last time. When Scott was about 2 years old, so this was years ago. His father was murdered before Christmas. Keep that in mind. December 23, 2022, 5:45 p.m. Lacey and Scott had went down to the salon where Lacey's sister Amy, I think the name, Amy Rocha, I don't know if I'm saying it properly, to do Scott's hair. This was a routine that they've done regularly.
Oh, Scott's a black man.
No, white Scott.
Oh, why is he doing this hair?
Salon to cut his hair.
What's about it? Okay.
Yeah. Went to the salon to cut Scott's hair, right?
Yeah.
So this is a routine that I've done regularly. Later that evening, Sharon, Lacey's mom, talked to Lacey on the phone around 8:30. I want to say 8:30 p.m. And this will be the last phone call that Lacey's mom will ever speak to Lacey, because December 24th, 2002, in the early morning, she'll be considered missing and then eventually murdered. Okay, so let's talk about the day of the murder, December 24th, 2002. So it was like any other morning. Scott had went fishing, and Lacey had.
Yeah, that day before Christmas morning.
Yes, the day before Christmas morning. Lacey was any other day before Christmas. Lacey had went out and did some cooking. Watched Mary Stewart at a TV. It's a cooking show with a popular host, and wanted to walk the dog, right? December 2015, Scott came back home looking for Lisa, but couldn't find her anywhere. Her car was still in the driveway. Later on, Lacey's stepfather and him would go and report Lisa missing, who was Lacey. Yes. Later that.
You said Lisa twice.
Ah! Okay, it's fine. Lacey.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about the day of the murder. It was any other morning. Scott had left to go fishing, and Lacey stayed home to watch Martin Stewart, basically a cooking show where the host is pretty famous. A cooking show basically to make mergers. It's basically just cookies. Look at this cookie. I'll show you an image for those watching on YouTube. But on this image, it's like a cookie. That's how you describe it.
Yeah.
But and then one do some mopping and then walk the dogs, right? At 2:15, Scott came back home and not found Lacey, though her car was in the driveway. And later that day, her stepfather and Scott will report Lacey missing. When she was pregnant. Now, detectives, when they reported to Lacey, detectives will find out that Lacey's key, wallet, sunglasses, and purse were in the closet, which was a big deal because because it didn't seem as if it was money motivated, because her card and identification were at home, so it didn't seem motivated. And I can imagine it not seen as a runaway, like a wife running away, because she left so many important things at home, like almost all of her stuff are at home, other than clothes on her body, right? So it didn't seem like a runaway, and it didn't seem like it was money motivated. So detectives found also it didn't seem as if the wife ran away. It didn't seem as if she ran away either.
She left so much stuff at home. Right?
Yes, and it didn't seem like so broken. So it was like a break and entry. Sometime after filing for the missing report, the police were on their game, which I have to give credit to it, because in the next true crime I'm doing, you would notice that the police slacked off. Like people were, you will see, but you know that the police typically for missing persons, not all the time, but for some cases of missing persons, the police are not on the game. Like, they're slacking off. So I gotta give, they were on the game around the moment where she was found missing. Over 30 police and firefighters searched for Lacey on foot, horseback, bicycles, watercraft, canine units, searchlights, equipped helicopters were also used. Like, they were on their game. And I have pure respect and admiration for the police and Lacey's family. The Rocher family, they were awake every single night of their life, the hardest time, conducting and partaking in like massive neighborhood search with 900. Can you believe it? 900 individual.
900 is mad.
Yeah, yes, 900 people like volunteers and all that. That also including Lacey's family, of course, her friends and neighbors searching for Lacey. They posted missing person flyers, they had vigils, and the Rocher family, along with some other friends and volunteers, set up command centers at like hotels to take phone calls, record developments and information. Over 1,500 so 1,500 volunteers distributed information and worked on command centers just to search for Lacey. Like, that's a lot. If I ever die, God forbid, I would want that many people looking for me, because I mean I also feel like, I'll probably say this again later on, but I also feel like it shows, I'm sorry, my hair. I also feel like it shows the type of person Lacey is. Like, these aren't just family and friends and neighbors. Like, these are like random people helping her look for Lacey, and most of which are probably like harsh touch. Students, adults,
the students'
couples,
families.
yeah. Or the student families, yes. Like, these were random people just looking for Lacey because of who she was. And this is why I want to describe who she was, like her personality, like just bubbly and very energetic, because it goes to show why there was 900 people for her. I mean, I'm sure like this story probably touched their hearts too, but hearing this story and also hearing who she is just kind of explained why there was like 900 people, 1,500 information being shared. Like, it was impressive. I hope if God forbid I go missing, that efforts will put on me, okay?
Yes.
There's also a website launched by the husband of one of Lacey's friends, and which again, like I said, shows what type of wonderful person she was and how loving and sweet and wholesome Lacey was. And she was just the type of person to just leave her impact. And we were talking about this previously, just to leave like a mark or this
about it today.
Yes.
Just to leave a mark on this one. I feel like she left a mark in lots of people's hearts.
Yeah.
And then to like give that amount of effort to find her.
Yeah, I agree. Like, she left a mark on not just her friends, not just her neighbors, but her friends, and it's just who she was. Now, let's talk about the suspects. The police did have a suspect. There was suspicion of Kurt Peterson. At first, it was mainly because of his calm, cool demeanor and his lack of questioning to his pregnant missing wife. Like, if I was missing, how would you, like...
If you were missing, I'll go crazy.
Exactly.
I'm not saying my own. Pardon me, guys. Nigerian.
He's Nigerian.
So I still have my accent there. So pardon me if you hear some PB like bleep level comments. But like, I go crazy.
Yes. I think I would have done the same thing too. Like, I would have been like crying and just like, where's my husband?
Yeah.
Where's my husband? Like, and he was just so cool with it. Like, he didn't even ask the question like, oh, like, what are you guys doing? Like, which is like, I would be bummed out. Like, wait, and that's one thing. When victims talk to the police, one thing they usually ask like, what are you guys doing? What can I do? What can I help? Like, he was not questioning anything. He was like, okay, cool, that's nice. And it makes sense why the police were very suspicious about him, because it was the lack of questioning and his behavior. An official who was working part of the case described Scott's behavior as, I quote, a strange combination of polite and arrogant, disaffectively distant, and impatiently irritable.
His wife's so missing.
He was about 8 months pregnant.
So he did not even care.
No, he did not.
Wow.
Like, that is how they described. Oh yeah, he kept going. That's how they described like his behavior towards his wife.
Yeah.
He went on to say he didn't seem like a man who was crushed or even greatly disturbed by his wife's disappearance and possible death.
Yeah.
Which is a heavy statement to say. In fact, your wife is carrying her own child. Yeah. But Scott's behavior will soon be the least of the police problem when they find out about his mistress, Amber Frey. I am so sorry for mispronouncing names. Let's move on. It wasn't necessarily the fact that he had a mistress, but more of the fact that what he said to his mistress. So, what do I mean? Let's rewind. December 9th. This is a week before Lacey's even died. Scott had sent a text to Emperor saying, and I quote, he would be a widower this Christmas, and this would be the first without his wife. Which is ironic, because weeks later, he will become a widower when his pregnant wife, dies on December 24th. Despite this new lead, there was just no luck and no evidence of the wife and her whereabouts. The police were just so stumped on this case. All search efforts and plea to the public, and do you know they even had a reward? $500,000 reward.
$500,000 is crazy.
Yes.
Wow.
To anyone who had even had any remote information leading to Lacey's safety and just finding her, but nothing. This was still missing.
Even with $500,000, nobody was able to get anything.
No.
Wow.
And it started off lower, but then it built up $500,000, and still that money.
And the husband didn't do any of that.
Nope.
It was her family that.
Oh no, it was the police.
No, like sometimes the police will have to somebody will have to insensitize the police to like give that kind of money.
Encourage them to do their work. I think it was a mixture of the police doing their work themselves, and also the family also like putting the news out there, like on the news channels, just like putting the word out there.
No, but like in cases like this, let's say somebody went missing. Remember when they sent the Ontario Amber Alert?
Oh yeah.
They don't give anybody the reward.
I'm not sure if they did Amber Alert. I think they would.
The fact that they did an Amber Alert, it must have been that serious, right? So I feel like maybe the family was even the one that actually pushed him there. I don't feel like it's the police that even did it. The police may have done something, but like I don't feel like the husband contributed at all.
No, even so, the family actually held 2 rituals. And and Scott didn't appear for one of them. His own wife, the celebration to even like remember your wife, to like I can't understand how he didn't go. Like, to me it was crazy.
For me that would have been like pure evidence.
Exactly.
This man killed my sister.
Exactly. That would be like, it's him. Like that. Oh my God, background noise. But it's okay. Yes, that would have been just crazy. Part 5. Finding the body. The first body was found was Connor, an male onboard fetus that was found on the San Francisco Bay. And following that was Lacey's torso, found a mile away from her child that she was so excited to bring to this world and love unconditionally. As for the autopsies, there was not much said on the autopsies because it was mainly private, which is actually pretty common. A lot of autopsies are either private because it's too heinous or
not even about heinous. Like some people don't just want their
yes, that's not them. And sometimes the police will actually keep it private.
Yeah,
for their own reasons.
That is mostly when it's too heinous.
Yeah. And there's not much said on the autopsies, but here is what is shown on autopsies. I will put a screen, but I'm not sure. Anyways, coroner's findings of death included minor decomposition, mutilation on his right side, and a length of nylon cord wrapped around his body. Corin had died in the utero due to natural decompositional process. So it seemed like the body, and we asked like, oh, how did Corin get removed from his mother if he was an unborn child? So it seemed like as Lizzie's body was decomposing, turning into a corpse, her abdominal cavity had ruptured, which explained why Connor was found so far away from her body.
Yeah.
But yes. Lacey's initial autopsies included she had a missing head and arms, 2 cracked ribs, and most of her legs and internal organs were severely decomposed. These, which annoys me when I'm hearing about all of this. Like, it annoys me because who does like such a crime? Like, who actually kills a pregnant woman? Like, that is such a heinous crime.
At least for the fact that she, even if you hate her to your bones, for the fact that the baby is inside, at least have mercy.
Yes.
Have mercy for like 2 more months.
Yes.
And the baby be born and then you,
okay, maybe not kill. It's not good.
Not kill, but
yeah.
Could we stop things out?
Yeah.
Even if you wanted to get rid of her for your mistress, then just divorce.
Yeah.
Manufacture a reason to divorce. Don't kill.
Yeah, I find that's an overkill.
And then your child too.
Yes.
So they're supposed to call you daddy.
No.
So they're supposed to be proud of.
Yeah.
And then
chill. Nothing about this even felt random, you know? Like, nothing about this felt random. Even the police, when they found the body and just how it was found, and just the whole nature of the crime, with courts being very just nonchalant, like nothing about this felt random, and it felt as if the crime was much closer to home, which, interesting enough, according to this statistics here in Canada, the government website says that about an average of 102 women and girls were victims of gender-related homicide per year. So I understand why the police didn't think this was random, because if you look at these statistics, even now, I think this was 2024, 2025. I will obviously link all my facts below, but just look at the statistics, it makes sense why it's not random, like why they feel that way, especially most of the gender-based being committed by males, usually by male. And from 2001 to 2021, there have been a staggering 1,125 crimes solely against women over the period of this homicide. 93 of those homicides were committed by male intimate partners. Male intimate partners.
Wait, 93 out of what?
Of the homicides.
How many? 102.
From 2011 and 2021.
2010, yeah.
Yes, 1,125 crimes were committed by male intimate partners, like husbands, boyfriends,
pause.
Yeah.
1,125 homicides.
Crimes.
Yes.
Just crime, not homicide, crimes. Yeah.
So which ones are committed by the males?
So, statistically, right,
Yeah.
100 and so most gender-based homicide are committed by males.
Yeah.
From 2011 to 2021, most of those homicides were 93% of them specifically.
93? I thought you said 93.
93%.
Oh, shit, that's a
were
lot.
committed by male intimate partners. family member, so a male family member, brother, uncle, a husband, or even like a boyfriend, an ex, or a fiance. 93.
That makes me scared for myself.
Why would you scare yourself? What? I mean, you're scared that a woman will kill you, then it wouldn't be that 93. It's the man killing the woman. I'll X this out. I don't want them to think.
Shouldn't that make you scared of me?
There's hope in this world, Justin. And plus, like, you're not like that. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
He's special.
It's okay, cut.
Okay. It's crazy for the US. So I'm in Canada. For those in the US, women in the US who are pregnant, listen to this, okay? Listen to this. Women in the US. Now, I'm not just blaming the US, okay? Like, this could be like...
That's arrest you.
What?
That's arrest you.
No, I don't... Okay, there are some in Canada as well, okay? There's some all other countries, okay?
Yeah.
I don't think I need to say... Let me make a quick disclaimer. I don't think I need to say this, but this case is based on the US, but just because it's based on the US doesn't mean that this can portray the image of a country. Like, one crime does not define an entire country. Like, just because they hear, oh, a crime in like China doesn't mean that everyone in China are killers. Like, I don't think I need to say that, but just a disclaimer, okay? But since I'm in Canada, and some of my girls maybe in the US, let me give you a statistics in the US. Women in the US who are pregnant or have given or recently given birth are more likely to die from their male intimate partner than they are to die from any pregnant related deaths or complications. Any. And I'm telling you, I will listen on the screen, there's a whole list of them that can kill you. But you're more likely to die from the man that you bear your child with. Your husband, whether it's your ex that you bear your child with, it's insane.
Really?
How would you want to be?
Making me scared.
These are the statistics. These are scary. Like, these statistics are scary. Yes. So once again, just adding on to the police belief, like, this is not a random crime. Like, this is too heinous to even be a random crime. Like I said, it didn't seem like a passionate crime, but committed by a stranger, it looked as if it was a crime closer to home. Like, it looked as if the police were looking for a suspect that Lacey knew directly, just based on the statistics and the crime itself. Part 6, police lead. His behavior contributed to why he was arrested. His behavior was nonchalant, and I think it just took them off. Also, typically men tend to be suspect. Men, yes, because of the statistics. Not as men in general, but technically
intimate partner.
Yes. So if a man was murdered, let's say, and he had a girlfriend, they would typically because intimate partners, they just kill each other.
They're the closest to you.
Not closest to you, but intimate partners. I'm not over-exaggerate, but tend to most crimes tend to be done by intimate partners. So whether the man is killing the woman or the woman is killing the man.
It doesn't have to be killing. Let's not go that far.
Or it could be rape. It could be assault. It could be anything.
Much downer.
Yes.
We're still not
downer. But yes, most crimes, especially if the person who died had a partner, they would question the partner itself. So, and obviously, typically that person tends to be a man, then typically are suspects when a woman is murdered. And Scott being a suspect, the police will obviously monitor him, his location, listen to his phone calls. They're monitoring Scott, and Scott has switched his vehicles and was less than 30 miles away from the Mexican border. However, the fear of him trying to flee, which I'll answer the question very quickly. The fear that he was trying to flee made the police very nervous, so they quickly arrested him. As soon as possible, detectives were certain that Peterson was trying to flee. When Scott was arrested, they found him with his hair was dyed. His hair and his beard was dyed blonde, which his hair and beard were like black and very dark black.
Normally,
yeah. And his vehicle was packed with equipment.
What equipment?
And supplies. So like hunting gear equipment, survival equipment.
He was going into the forest.
No one knows. But
he was most likely going into the forest.
Like it's like and everything and knowing that, like I keep saying, but he had nearly 15k USD
in cash. Oh, fuck!
In cash.
Running away.
Like, when I see that,
he was running away.
Exactly. But in court, he had an explanation for all this, and I'm like, buddy, 15k.
We had an explanation.
Yeah, till there's a trial.
What do you want to explain?
And people like, why do you have 15k in cash? And he was like, well, I just wanted it. I didn't want to like go to the bank like that. He had like an explanation. So I'm like,
explanation.
Anyway,
that is not an explanation. You can explain that.
I know that if you have that much in cash, you're doing something. Because
but then again,
he could actually have it.
Back home for me, I'm Nigerian. I said before. Back home is much more common to find cash everywhere. Like,
really?
People literally take millions around in cash, right? So, if coming from that system, I would have said, okay, maybe it's applicable that he just wanted it. Because me personally, there are times when I feel like, oh, I don't just want this like $2K in my account. I want it out of my hand in cash so that I can not spend it as much or something like that. Since it's really easy to spend money here, just stop and it's gone. So I was thinking, let me just do it. And you know, sometimes when you pay for stuff in cash, you save on tax, right?
Oh,
because
really?
Like some stores will literally tell you to like, oh, if you have cash, you don't need to pay tax. So just take this and they give you cash like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's if it came from those two situations, I could have understood where it was coming from. But then 15k is a lot.
Yes,
15k is a lot. If you want to keep cash, keep it like 2, 3. Not 15, your whole life savings.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Not only that, but you also had, I agree with you. I also feel like it depends on your country. I feel like Nigeria, you have a lot of cash circulating around circulating around the economy, would I say? Yeah. Compared to like maybe US, where it's like more like card, swipe.
Mostly tap, scap.
Yeah.
Credit cards Credit cards come out.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Not only that, but he had a cell phone, an extra cell phone. He had 2 driver's licenses.
2
driver's licenses. And one of his brother, Lee.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure if his brother was an accomplice to him getting out. I'm not sure.
I don't think his brother. But then did they arrest his brother?
No, just
at least question that brother.
Yes.
Before the brother gave him what are you
2 driver's license
for?
Those are all found in his car.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, surviving gear, equipment, and like that. And anyways, let's go to the evidence, the trial. I'm not actually going to go to the trial, but we're going to go to the evidence that was said in trial. Mm-hmm. And how there was some iffy evidence that was used to arrest him. So for this case, it's kind of odd because people are divided.
Yeah.
Some people think like, oh, he actually is innocent. And you see, I know, I was like, at first I was reading, I was like, he's not innocent. Like, he had the cash, he was clearly trying to go to Mexico, right? Like,
without his wife.
Yes! And with his new woman.
Oh, they were together together?
No, they went to get there. But like.
She was already there with him. She was waiting for him.
So at some point, she did try to this thing. The cops did try to wire her and have conversation with her because like they wired her, like she knew about it, and they told him, hey, go talk to him, so that and say I try to confess with him with the recording, but he didn't confess. But long story short, I guess that relationship ended because when he was fleeing without her. Yeah. Anyways. It is very odd, but still, people believe that he was innocent, and that's because of the evidence. Now, I was shocked that people would think that, but you're going to see why. Let's go to the evidence. Okay, part 7, the evidence. So there's three main evidence that was heavily used in the trial that we want to discuss about. The first evidence being the hair strands. So those Lacey's hair strand was found on the boat, and prosecutors through journal, this beautiful word right here on the screen, testing. Wink. To mitochondrial testing, it matches Lacey's DNA, right? And prosecutors suggested that the hair strand must have come from Lacey, because she has never been on the boat, so it must have been Lacey's dead body. So Lacey and Scott had a boat.
Yeah.
And
but then she never went on the boat.
prosecutors said that she never went on the boat because she never been seen on the boat.
Yeah.
So the hair strand must be from a dead body. And through the testing, the hair strand and Lacey's hair matched up.
Yeah.
However, not wrong that evidence is that not false about evidence, right? Lacey had been on the boat a day ago before she even died, and a witness actually saw her on the boat. So then the prosecutors are saying she's never been on the boat, but then witnesses are saying no, I saw her on the boat. And not only that, but Lacey and Scott share a home.
How will she be on the boat?
Her hair should be everywhere, exactly.
Exactly, that one is not consequential.
Not only that, not only that, but then the mitochondrial testing is not reliable. In the US, mitochondrial testing is not allowed in most states. Or it's not allowed, or nor is it reliable in most states in the US. So it's like very iffy when talking about the mitochondrial testing, it's not very reliable. Let's go to the second evidence. So the second evidence was the 90-pound cement.
90 pounds cement?
Yes. So Scott, before Lacey's death, had made cement for the driveway.
Yeah. And
apparently he used the rest of the cement on the words like an anchor.
Only what?
An anchor. Yeah. And the prosecutor believed that he used that anchor to weigh down Lacey's dead body into the bottom of the water. Yeah. Right? But then the problem, and then there was a concrete cement. There was a concrete expert, which I didn't know what that was until doing the research, that basically said that the concrete from the driveway could possibly match the concrete from the anchor. But the problem is that the anchor was never even found. Yes, and they use some kind of solar equipment, which basically it's so accurate that it's so advanced that it can
the bottom of the ocean.
Yes, and you can find something as small as a tin can in the ocean.
Oh wow!
Large body of water, but the reason why you think, okay, so this is so advanced, it's not an anchor, but the reason why I couldn't was because the water there was very milky, like the water had thick mud, strong currents, dark waters, and it will make it very hard for even that advanced solar equipment to even find it.
So you didn't end up finding it?
No.
So what
but then people are saying there's an anchor.
What?
Yes.
Okay, go on.
But then, anyways, let's go to the...
I would say the only, for me, I would say the only concrete evidence in this was his own actions.
Yes.
Like his own, what he did.
With the amber. Yes.
Moving to Mexico.
Yes.
Bringing out 15K of cars.
Yes.
Whatever equipment, extra driver's license. Like, nigga, why are you doing all of that?
Yes.
If I would say, if he didn't do any of that, if he just was normal, I don't think they could have pinned it on him because the evidence is never saying anything.
Right, and this is why I talked about a lot of people are on his side because the evidence is not very strong. Like all the other evidence in the case, I will say that, but these are the main three ones that was constantly put up.
Yeah.
The third evidence, was the witnesses and testimonies. Even that was faulty. For example, one of the witnesses there named Rick Chang, I'm not sure I say his name right. He said that he he testified and said that Scott dumped Lacey's body in the river in the water that he went fishing. Remember the day of Lacey's death? Yeah. Scott went fishing. So he said
Scott went fishing.
Yes. Okay. Rick Chang said that he testified and said that Scott dumped her body at the
fishing spot.
At the fish spot. But then when he's being cross-examined, he said, "Oh well," he said it was probable and not precise. So it's like
what you saying, nigga?
Exactly. So a lot of the witnesses were not like straight, and it was more hearsay, which in an investigation is not
consequential.
Yes, in this investigation, the police, like I said, were doing their job, but not entirely well. So let me give you an example. The police were supposed to do alibi checks, and they didn't. For some of them, they didn't do alibi checks. Not only that.
For example, the guy that said he saw when he put this. Where were you at the time?
Exactly.
How was I supposed to check alibi? Alibi. Where are you? Where were you?
And the police just not only that, but him and what are you talking about?
The guy that saw him, the rickshaw guy.
He's just saying based on hearsay, or is what he thinks, which isn't true.
True. Which may not be true.
Yes. And not only that, but in investigation, the police put the alibi, like I said, alibi checks, and they didn't do alibi checks. And in interrogation video where Scott was interrogated, the detectives failed to properly record that interrogation.
They didn't record it very well.
Because they didn't add batteries to it.
The fuck?
To the tape. Like literally, it's such. I mean,
that's an L move, bro.
I know.
So the thing just went like that.
Yes.
They did do it again at least.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's like, once again, all this lack of, and the police. I will say the police did do their diligence.
Yeah.
They do their work properly in the beginning, but I'm not sure how they feel in this part. Because as part of the interrogation video, because the way police interrogate are so well that they would have probably got a confession from him.
Yes.
But
even if it was by mistake, at least you get something.
I mean, false that be considered false confession, and that's you can actually that's false confession.
What's the false confession?
So you're saying like, oh, you done by mistake. That's a false.
No, like if let's say he let something slip.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yes, absolutely. So there was a lot of things in the evidence and the trial that was just faulty at best, and made me question who actually did it and if it was actually Scott. At the end of all of this, Scott Peterson was found guilty, even with all that evidence. The testimonies didn't line up. The anchor wasn't found. Don't know what that is. The police didn't record it properly. So even with all that, he was still found guilty. And some people believe that, is he actually guilty? Because the only evidence they got is that yes, Lacey is murdered, right? And yes, Scott had an affair. And yes, he did have $15,000 USD in cash.
With survival equipment and 2 driver's licenses on the way to Mexico with the blonde hair. Okay. But yes. But
he was found guilty on November 12th, 2004. And the jury convicted Scott to 2 counts of murder. The first count being first-degree murder for murdering Lacey, his wife, and second-degree murder for murdering the unborn child, Connor. Part 8. Now, this is my favorite part. Now, you're listening to this, and you're like, okay, well, what's the reason of doing all of this, right? Like, what's the motive? Why? Now, the pressing question for a lot of people, okay, so let's go into the theories. Part A is the reason for the crime. So there are many theories online that question that And the question, why did Scott do it? Now remember, these are just theories. They are not a representation of my belief or what I think or my own matter in this case. These are just theories. It's a big place for a whole lot of things. These are just my theories. You can search them up on internet too. Let's start with theories. The first theory, his mistress. So the first and the most talked about reason for Scott committing the crime was that he committed the crime because of his secret mistress. Scott had an affair with Emma Frey. People suspected that Scott had been in love with Emma and wanted to start over a new life, and while getting rid of the old, aka murdering Lacey. Weeks before Lacey died, Scott had mentioned to Amber, telling him that he's a widower and this will be his first Christmas without his wife. So that was the first theory that internet was kind of like leading on to, and people suspected that that's why he killed Lacey before Christmas. The second theory is that he didn't do it. The crime was committed by a stranger. Now this theory really stems from the lack of evidence that there was in the trial. Like I said, the anchor that was constantly thrown around in the trial was not found. The witness testimonies were not concrete, were just kind of hearsay. The lack of evidence made people believe that, made people come with this theory online that he didn't actually do it. Someone else killed Lacey. And also the DNA test didn't prove anything else. The third theory was that he wasn't ready to start a family, and I don't sit well with this theory personally because, like I said, there was no evidence, not even from his friends, that said he wasn't ready to start a family. He wanted to back out, but it is a theory.
You could just
run away or divorce, which is
when your wife is the most pregnant. The only thing you can do is run away.
Sure, if I'm running for your problems.
Sure. And then probably from your blessings more like.
Yes. But not murder your own wife.
True.
But this is a theory that is speculated on the internet, that he wasn't ready to start a family and he quote unquote wanted a way out of it.
No fucking way else you want to do it.
Exactly. And not because him not feeling ready to start a family, he decided that murder was the only choice left. Now, like I said, these are all just theories as for the reasons why he may kill his wife. I personally feel as if the first theory makes more sense with the Ember Frey. And the reason why I'm saying that, because there's another case similar to this where the husband did kill his wife to be with his mistress, and he killed, I think it was his wife, his daughter. Yes, his daughter. I think he had 2 kids, and then his wife was pregnant. He killed his pregnant wife and his 1 or 2 kids to be with his mistress. And yeah, so that's why I feel like this case really reminds me of that one, which I will cover, but that case really reminds me of it because I feel like it leans more towards that theory, especially given the fact that of what he said with the text with Amber and how he called himself a widower, which ironically he would become one. So
that was too coincidental to be.
Too coincidental, yes. But these people are debating online. It's not just the theories people are debating online, but also Scott's innocence. Let me know where you guys stand on all of this. Is Scott innocent? Is he not innocent? Which theory do you lean towards more? Let me know. But the real victim, whether or not you believe Scott is innocent or not, the real victim is the Rucha family. Lacey, yes. And the Rucha family. Because
and the child.
Connor. Yes, Lacey, the Rucha family and Connor. Yes, those are the real victims. The Rucha family are really a force not to be reckoned with. Because let me tell you what they did. The Rucha family are really not a force to be reckoned with. They worked hard in promoting Lacey's case on the news channels and just promoting all that that it led to a passage called the Unborn Victims of Violence Act, which was signed by the then President George Washington Bush. Yes, which the Richard family, Sandra and her husband Ron, were there with the then president as he signed this act. Like, it was the Richard family that worked so hard to sign this law into act. Not only that, so what is the act? The act provides that under federal law, any person who causes death or injury to an unborn child during the commission of a crime upon a pregnant woman will be charged with a separate offense. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about, let's say if a woman who is pregnant gets murdered, they won't just be charged with
one mother.
Yes, they'll be charged with two, because that child is also a human being too.
That's so cool.
And is this family that worked their butt off to put it into motion?
Yeah.
They also published a book called Lacey, A Mother's Story of Love, Loss, and Justice. It was basically a biography and a memoir of her daughter and her grandchild. I'll link it in the description. I think you find it on Amazon too. I'll link it in the description. It's a very good book. And it was also #1 bestseller in the New York Times. So that just goes to show how good the book is. The Richard family, even when I was listening to the trial, they were devastated by the fact that they lost their daughter and their grandchild to a individual in their daughter's life who she trusted, only for her to get murdered by that individual. Now, I know some are like, oh, but the evidence, we're not sure, okay? But one thing is for sure, that they did get murdered, and it must have been devastating for them just to lose their child in that manner. It's always devastating to lose anyone from murder. I'm not saying losing your child from any other way or losing anyone in any way is better, but it hurts deeper when it's like,
knowing that someone else did it.
Yeah, knowing that, like, you know, they could have actually had 10 more years, but it was cut down.
Yeah.
So the devastation, I will never know what it feels like for Lacey's siblings, Lacey's father, for Lacey's mother, who also really fought. I'll never know what that feels like, but I can only suspect and just only sympathize, really speaking. I will link some resources if you guys want to just help you if you're dealing with this yourself, because like I said, like these statistics don't lie. Like, this is a common thing. Women are being murdered. Pregnant women are being murdered. So if you guys need help or some kind of helpline, I will link them below. The ones I will link below are done from my own research. And if you want to also donate to these charities as well, I will link helplines, of course. Like, if you want to donate to this charity as well, I will link that below. Okay. And the ones I did are from my own research. Obviously, do your own research or donate to your own charity of your choice. But yes, okay. So Lacey's life did matter. Connor's life did matter. And whoever did kill Lacey and Connor, Scott or whoever, I hope they get forgotten, because Lacey, Connor, they will never get forgotten. Like, their legacy lives on, both from the act that their family fought for and just from like hearing their story. Their legacy lives on. I hope that whoever does it, they will be forgotten. They will not be remembered. No one will care for them. No one will love them. And the true victims in this case, and all cases, will be remembered. And Lacey will be remembered, and Connor. Okay, this is the current case for Lacey Peterson. I will see you soon. Thank you. Subscribe if you like. The next one will be more international. Like, this one is based in America. Next one I will be more international. I think my cases going forward will be a little more international. But let me know what you guys think. Comment your thoughts and believe, is thoughts innocent, is it not innocent? Of course, I'll still link all the helpline and all the charities just to help women, like not just women but also men too, because men too are victims of abuse, domestic abuse and all those things. But I will link some helps men too if you want to support whoever, right? I do feel as if having awareness on men's health is also important. Also women's health too, because women do tend to be victims for a lot of the crimes committed. So I'll link videos for both. Tell me what you guys think about the case. Stay safe. I will see you soon. Bye.